Glenn in the Tindo factory in Adelaide. How are you, Glenn?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. Now, we just finished up the factory tour. Really impressive. So I want to go over, we'll just break down some of the things we saw then. But before we go into too much detail onto the factory tour and the production, do you want to just give me a rundown of the history of Tindo and the story, when it started and when you got involved?
Yeah, so Tindo was founded in 2011 by, the main partner was Adrian Ferretto, who came out of Solar Shop. And he's a mechanical engineer by trade and so has a passion there for robotics and manufacturing, and really wanted to prove that high quality solar modules can be manufactured in Australia still. And so he set up the original plant, which is just next door to this one here, and much smaller plant. A lot of sleepless nights, he tells me, and but got it off the ground. And he was known for high quality and durability and longevity of modules, and had a focus on quality. And I had another solar business in Adelaide as a competitor, and tendered for work with the state government in 2016 and to do solar on public housing. I was successful in that tender. The launch of that program with the Premier at the time was at the Tindo factory, so I was pretty confident they wanted to use locally manufactured modules. So I got in touch with Tindo at the time and formed a relationship with Adrian and Tindo, and then through that, less than 12 months later, I bought the business from him.
Yeah, wow.
2017, yeah.
Was there original funding to get the business off the ground, or was that?
No, Adrian used all his own money. So he'd sold his share out of Solar Shop and put all his own capital into it, so to his credit, yeah.
It's really hard to grow a business from scratch, particularly manufacturing. I imagine there's a lot of outlay, so you'd have to be pretty confident, but obviously he's done really well, and then you've come in.
Since I've purchased the business, so it was 2017, we ramped up production next door, got to a point that was just too small for us. Bought this block of land here that we're on now, built this facility in 2020, 2021, so purpose built for a brand new manufacturing line, and here we are now. We increased the capacity from the old line from 60 megawatt to 180 megawatt here, so we tripled the size per annum. Is the capacity, and we're ramping up production to get to that as soon as possible.
And that's getting supplied right around Australia at the moment?
Yeah, so we ship our product all over the country. We're in distribution channels around the country, and even some export overseas as well, predominantly to Vietnam. Yeah,
wow, I think Asia is going to be a good market for that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we can get some, Australian-made panels into Asia, because like I said, I was over there recently and they were asking me about it. They said they love Aussie stuff.
Yeah, we'd love to. Like I said, we're already in part of Asia in Vietnam, and that's on the back of quality and longevity. It's a pretty harsh climate for solar modules there, very humid, and solar generally doesn't like humidity.
Well, yeah, but even Adelaide, like I grew up in Adelaide, and Adelaide is definitely a harsh climate, I would say as well.
Well, in Australia, the country's so big. We go from Adelaide, where it's very arid and extreme temperatures. Just this Saturday coming, I think the forecast is 42. So that hot climate, and then you go up the east coast and you get into the humid areas, and then northern Australia, cyclonic areas, and so we have that wide varied climate and climatic conditions here, and part of what we do here at Tindo is engineer and manufacture our panels to suit that wide variety of climate and climatic conditions.
So is your production line always kind of expanding and evolving? You're adding new things in, upgrading new modules or panels coming in? Is this like an ongoing process?
Yeah, definitely. So we will release a model of a module, and at the same time we'll recommence R&D for the next release. So it's about an 18-month process for us to R&D, manufacture, test, send away for certification, and that's under a 6-month testing regime with TUV, and then come back, have all the certificates, and then release to market.
Just the bureaucracy side of things is what, 6 months or so?
6 months of testing overseas, and then we've got to come back and put all of that testing data to the CEC and get that certified here for use in Australia as well.
Well, I guess everyone else that brings panels into Australia go through the same testing process, so I guess there's fair ground there, but it would be nice to see things streamlined a little bit there. If you guys can, get your R&D and your manufacturing up, and then it is always annoying for us as an installer when we've got, we know there's products coming and sometimes they're finished and they're sitting in the warehouse, so it's like batteries is a story, we get that a lot. And, waiting for CEC approval, and there's all this good stock sitting there and we can't even install it. It's not really helping anyone.
No.
But yeah, it's good. So we went through the whole production line, and you showed me all of your quality control checks and everything. So how many checks do you have throughout the whole process?
I think there's 27 points of QA throughout the line. So it's quite a number. And we have created this zero defect policy and mentality. And so we don't allow anything to pass through the line that has a defect on it, and we'll pick it up at one of those many points along the way, take that product off, keep going with the rest. And so when we get to the very last checkpoint, which is the flash test, the power class, virtually zero failure at that point.
It was quite a few, like you said 27, I definitely saw quite a few which were linked with AI as well that was going through and checking all of the cells to see if anything even looked like, it was a bit like I was looking at like X-rays or MRIs or something where you kind of try and tell, and a doctor goes, oh yeah, that's where it's.
So we do multiple electroluminescence tests on the full cell, the half cell, and then the module level and the short strings, and they still eliminate any of resistance to current, microcracking, anything that could cause a problem with either the output or the durability or duration of that module. Yeah,
so it's very, very detailed that you go through. And what's your failure rate currently of panels that go out on roofs?
So we had Dr. Andrew Thompson from ANU do some research for us a little while ago. And he researched that the average failure rate of modules around the world was 1 in 1,000 per annum. His research on Tindo was 1 in 200,000 per annum.
How did he get to that number? Was that?
Well, we looked at the amount of modules that we had manufactured at that point in time, amount out in market, and then how many warranty claims and failures that we'd had.
Yeah, wow, it's impressive. So tell me about the supply chain then, because obviously not everything is manufactured here. Like there are quite a lot of your panels is manufactured here, and we've seen that, but then some raw materials and cells are coming from overseas. So with this supply chain obviously coming from different countries around Asia, there's some people have considerations about that, like ethical industries there and modern slavery, or like as I've researched in China, they call it poverty alleviation programs, which I love. It's like 1984. But what are you doing there, like to mitigate that? Are you're not involved in that? How's your supply chain look?
Yeah, good. So firstly, I'd say anyone in the PV module industry that says we can give you a 100% guarantee that we're modern slavery free potentially isn't telling the full truth. We don't believe that that's possible to have a 100% guarantee. You'll get a letter from a manufacturer with a nice big rubber stamp on it and signed by somebody that says that, but we don't believe that's possible. But what we do is take every step we can to mitigate that risk. So we visit the factories, we have a audit process in place, a third-party auditor that does a full audit, which then highlights any risk areas. We then ask questions, we get responses in writing from the manufacturers, and so it goes through a whole process, and every supplier of ours has to go through that process every year. Yep. And then depending on the results from that, we then determine what the risk is, and we make decisions from that data.
Yeah, so would I be correct in saying that the silicon's mined and the silicon's processed and then that's sent off to another factory that manufactures the cells, and then in many cases you purchase the cells in bulk and bring them down? Okay, so we minimise a lot of that, yeah. And you were telling me on the tour that you've had people partnerships with people overseas that you've then cancelled for various reasons.
Yeah, so we've had examples of during that that mitigation process and the audit process, we believed that the risk was too high, and we've changed suppliers on the back of that.
Yeah. No, that's good to know. So what about you? the cells covered. We're doing a lot of the testing and the cutting and everything and all the electrical connections. And then one of the later things, there's two things: the junction boxes and then the frames. I mean, I'm interested in the frames. Are you locally sourcing the aluminium? Is that?
Yeah, so we've got a contract with Capral Australia, so based out of Queensland, one of Australia's largest aluminium extruders and suppliers. And so we're actively trying, to onshore supply chains. We're the only PV panel manufacturer in the country, and so there's no supply chain in Australia for it. But we're actively, as we're growing and increasing our volumes, we're attracting manufacturers in Australia to be interested to supply to us. And we think that's a really important part of what we do, and for sovereign capability for Australia moving forward in the future, so we can be self-sufficient.
Geopolitical issues are on the news every day, and everyone, I think, wants to be a bit more independent. We have been getting notifications from our suppliers that prices of things are going up soon due to some changes in the tax system in China. I think it may not be correct, is that the VAT rebate, they pay VAT tax and they get a rebate back, and now that's getting reduced by the CCP, so now the cost of things coming from China is going to go up. We're expecting, I've been told anything 30 to 40% increase in panel prices in the next few months. Does this affect Tindo at all? What are you forecasting in the next few months? Are you expecting?
Yeah, we've been notified by some of material suppliers of the same, so increase in costs coming and around that 30% mark. So our material costs will go up. Our labour cost, every other cost won't change. And so what you'll see is the gap between an entry-level Chinese module coming into the country and Tindo, you'll see that gap closing in percentage terms. So we'll actually be closer to the imported module price.
The Chinese price will go up more than Tindo, so...
Yeah, in percentage terms, yep.
That's what I was hoping. That's what I was hoping you would say, but I wanted to confirm with you because, that is one of the considerations. Obviously, we sell a few different solar panels, but Tindo is more expensive than some of the other panels, but it's obviously more of a premium panel. Just touching on that, what do you think would be the key justifications for, like, if you had two quotes and, one was, a typical Chinese panel and one was Tindo and it was, $1,000, $2,000 more to get Tindo, why do you think someone should go for the more expensive one?
Well, if you look at...
Tindo, at least the better one.
There's obviously multiple reasons, but if we look at, the key facts, data suggests that Tindo is actually the lowest cost of energy over time. So it's proven to be more reliable, more energy, lower failure rates, etc. So over the life of the system. If you think about solar is an investment over time. It's not something you get your money back day one.
I always say any investment comes with risk.
Yeah, 100%.
So you want to minimise the risk, you need to protect the downside as well.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got multiple points of validation of that. You look at the recent the most recent Choice magazine test results. So Choice tested randomly 54 modules out of the wholesale market. They just sourced them from distributors. Tested 54 modules and they ranked Tindo as the number one module they tested. And Tindo was actually the only module they tested that met power class. Every other module actually flashed under its label.
Which is something you showed me with the flash testing in the factory before, is that every module that you flash test tests over the rated wattage. So we stood there and right in front of me, we tested, the machine tested a 440 and it came up 444, right? 444.2?
Yes.
Which is, so every Tindo panel is flash testing over, and a lot of the other brands are actually flash testing under. So if you're going for a cheaper brand, you might be buying a 440, but it's only producing 420.
Potentially,
at a flash test, which may be less than that even on the roof.
Yeah, so we have a positive tolerance. We will not, if a panel flashes under its label, which is unusual, but if it did, we would not sell that. That's part of our quality control and part of our policy internal.
So tell me about the expansion. I know there was a government program last year, Solar Sunshot, administered by ARENA. They're doing what governments do, which is that they give out money to certain things that they want to fund, which is renewable energy, which is great. So you guys put your hand up for that. What did you get out of that, and what's the plans?
Yeah, so it was a long process with Arena. It was over 12 months to pull it all together and get a final approval, but we were fortunate to be granted funding last year to the tune of about round figures $35 million, and that's to grow our own plant here, to increase the volume and scale, which and then also part of the large majority of the funding is a production credit. So that allows us to be subsidised, if you like, for making modules here to make us more competitive with imported product in the market. To help us scale. So it's a catch-22.
So part of it is to reduce the cost of what you're producing now.
Yeah. To help us to
Yeah.
scale to larger volumes and then be self-sufficient at those scales.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, because I know it's a few years ago now in America. I think it was Joe Biden. He brought in, what's the word? The Inflation Reduction Act. I believe it's and I think Enphase got in on that, reduce the cost of their microinverters.
Similar concept.
Yeah, so a similar thing. So that it's partly the money is partly to increase your production, but partly actually to reduce the cost so we can get it more affordable. So as the product's more affordable, we can get it out there more.
That's right. So as our cost to market drops, we're going to sell more and manufacture more. So it's growing our business to then get to scale, naturally, but then the funding can fall away over time and we maintain that scale and those cost advantages at that scale.
Yeah. That's really interesting. And what's this? I'm hearing about a gigafactory.
Yeah.
Is this going to happen, or where are we at with the gigafactory?
So at the moment we have 180 megawatt capacity. So we've always had ambition for a gigawatt scale, which is 6 to 7 times what we're doing now. And the government, really wants to, have an industry here in Australia. And so part of the Arena funding is also to help us proof of concept scale where we are now, and then do a feasibility study on a gigawatt scale factory.
Yeah, wow, that would be good. So obviously you're already the only of your kind in Australia. So then, if we can go ahead with that, then we could really take over the Australian market with Australian solar panels. Like you don't have any competition, right?
Not right now, no.
No, not right now. So yeah, that's good.
No, and if you think about it from sovereign capacity or capability perspective and what's good for the country, we're employing people here, we're onboarding or bringing back supply chain to Australia, so that's creating jobs at other manufacturing facilities in the country. We pay tax here, so it's the money stays in the country here.
So a lot of big companies don't pay tax in Australia, right?
Unfortunately, we do.
Tindo does. Yeah, not funneling money through the Caribbean.
No. And, that's our social responsibility. We're getting money from the government to grow the business and employ people, and we pay taxes accordingly.
Oh, I mean, it's the whole kind of circle of life, and at the moment we give solar panels out to homeowners, and we reduce the cost for them. So they provide business to us, we reduce their energy bills, and it's doing the right thing for the environment at the same time. So it's really a win-win for everyone. Yeah. The last thing I just wanted to go over while I'm here is the panels that you've got at the moment. So what's the current range that's available? And
so we're doing manufacturing right now Willara 440 white backsheet, and then we've got a 475 black backsheet module in the Willara series as well.
Yeah.
So they're the two that we are manufacturing now. We can manufacture modules up to getting close to that 600 watt utility scale as well, but that's we run that as a made to order.
Made to order? How long would that take?
Oh, it takes half a day to flip the factory over, and we can start manufacturing that the same day as long as we've got the materials here. So there's lead times involved, of course, but they're generally larger utility scale ground mount type projects that we get plenty of notice on.
What size project would that be?
Anything from we would say a couple of megawatt as a minimum to make it worthwhile to change over and get the materials in.
Yeah.
And then anything up from there. you know.
That's interesting. I'm just thinking if there's any commercial projects that are coming up, we could our own custom-made Tindo order.
You could.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate enough to be awarded for a project in Queensland, Bowen Pipeline project. That's a 30 megawatt ground mount, and we'll be supplying Tindo modules into that.
Yeah, wow. No, it's good. Well, it's all happening here. Is there anything else going on that we haven't discussed, or?
Oh, there's always something going on, and particularly in this industry. I've been in it for a while now, and you know, nothing ever stays the same for too long.
Yeah.
Battery subsidies have really put a shot in the arm of the industry, and everyone's crazy busy. And our module sales are going crazy. We last calendar year made twice as many modules as we did the year before. We're making more modules this calendar year than we've ever made before. Everything's ramping up and getting busier and busier.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's good to hear. Well, thanks for taking us for the tour. Excited to get some more of these out on the roofs. We've been working with it a bit now, and starting to ramp up more, especially as there's more interest in, ethical panels, local made panels. So it's good. All right, we'll leave it at that. But thanks for having me.
No worries.
No worries, thanks.
Thank you.